Cowboys fans, if you want a new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, subscribe to the Cowboys Report. My man Tom Downey going to be back very, very soon from vacation. Hit that big red button. He will be live as soon as Jason Garrett is fired, and he'll be live as soon as the Cowboys hire a brand new head coach. So if you want the latest Cowboys information, subscribe to the Cowboys Report. Hit that big red button. Now, let's get into today's Cowboys Report. Absolute debacle in Philadelphia for the Dallas Cowboys as Philadelphia took down Dallas 17-9, and the Philadelphia Eagles have taken control of the NFC East. There is a playoff path for the Cowboys. We'll talk about that later in the show, but we all know this was the game of the year for Dallas. Fell short 17-9. Lots of blame to go around, and it, as usual, starts with Jason Garrett. I can't say enough how much Garrett and this coaching staff failed in yesterday's game against the Philadelphia Eagles in the 17-9 loss. They were outplayed, they were outcoached, and in key moments, pivotal players, the best players on the Cowboys, are on the sideline. Where the hell is Amari Cooper on fourth down, season on the line? Now, I guess it's not literally season on the line. The Cowboys can still make the playoffs, but let's be honest. It was all about Cowboys and Eagles in Week 16, and the Cowboys failed and lost 17-9. Here's the quote from Amari Cooper. Very simple. He was asked after the game why he wasn't in on that fourth down play. Simple answer. Coach just took me out. I had just run a deep ball, took me out. So basically he's saying, because you see this a lot during games, is after guys run vertical patterns, they take a play off to catch their breath. Not when the season's on the line, okay? You get your ass back out there, back to the line of scrimmage, and you're ready to go on fourth down. Here's the tweet from Jane Slater after the loss last night on this situation, saying a Cowboys source disputes the notion that wide receiver Amari Cooper was benched. Instead, they wanted to give Tavon Austin a shot at the DBs because the Eagles were having trouble with smaller, quick guys. They got in hurry-up mode, so they had to wait to put Cooper back in. Quote, rotation change, not bench, from her source. Guys, I understand, and earlier in the second half, Tavon Austin came in and burned a receiver, a cornerback, and Dak missed him, but not when the game's on the line. Here's more today. Jason Garrett on 105.3 The Fan with his weekly interview, Slater paraphrasing what he said this morning when answering to that situation, said that they wanted two tight ends on that final play. That's why Cobb and Cooper weren't in on it, got what they wanted, and it didn't work out. You want to run 12 personnel and not have your two of your three best receivers in on the final play and throw a jump ball to Michael Gallup. Great job yet again by the best coaching staff in the NFL. And by the way, to make matters worse, Jason Garrett blamed this on Kellen Moore and Sanjay Law, said that was Kellen Moore's decision and the wide receiver rotation is all on Sanjay Law. Take some damn ownership. You're the head coach. It's why you're not going to be back next year, because you failed in a variety of ways this year. These are just a few of the coaching flubs by the Cowboys. No Zeke on 3rd and 1 on the opening drive of the second half when you're finally moving the rock and your rookie Tony Pollard fumbles. I know Zeke checked himself out before the second down play, but he's got to be back on the field on 3rd and 1 when you have a chance to score. Instead, you fumble. I thought that's when the game was lost, in my opinion. Next, when you're down 11 points with 13 minutes left, 17-6, 13, 14 minutes at your own 34, yeah, it's not great field position. You're down 2 scores, and you've only scored 6 points, and you punt on 4th and 1. You punt on 4th and 1. Interesting decision there. By the way, they went for a 4th and 9 about 4 minutes later and got it. Oh, but they won't go for a 4th and 1. Really understand that call there. And then again, no Amari Cooper, no Randall Cobb on 4th and 8, really 4th and season on the line. Instead, you have 2 tight ends out there and throw a jump ball to Michael Gallup. It makes absolutely no sense. You guys know what I'm going to ask. I'm not even asking anymore. I'm telling you. Type FG if you want Jason Garrett fired. It's time, guys. You might get hit with the YouTube ad break here. If you do, you'll have time to scroll down to the pinned comment. This is what it will be. Type FG. By the time you scroll back up, the YouTube ad break will be over. Type FG if you want Jason Garrett fired. Is Jerry Jones finally seeing the light, guys? I really hope so. I think we know how this ends. It ends with Jerry firing or at least moving on from Jason Garrett. Technically, he doesn't have to fire him. He's in the last year of his deal. He can just announce that they're not bringing him back and that they're bringing in a new coach. Now, that is firing the guy, but technically it's not from a contract standpoint. But clearly, Jerry was disappointed after the loss in Philadelphia. There were several quotes out there. We'll just show you this one. He stood by Garrett over a decade, including his days as the offensive coordinator with Wade Phillips. Here's the quote after the game. "It leaves, from my perspective, a lot to consider here. This is a little bit of a surprise. I didn't see the Chicago Bears game coming, and this one was a surprise. I thought we were prepared to play. I thought we could play better out here. I'm disappointed." That line right there, "I thought we were prepared to play," that's an indictment on the coaching staff. It's an indictment on Jason Garrett. Look, Jerry gave himself false hope. We all know that. When he said a few weeks ago, "Storybook ending, I still believe in it. Jason Garrett's the only guy that gives us a chance this year." It just wasn't going to happen, guys. That Rams game was a one-game blur. Like, that happens in the NFL. Everything happened perfectly in that game. They couldn't repeat it against the Eagles. They weren't even close. They didn't get into the end zone. No touchdowns against a pretty average defense in Philadelphia. Here's Garrett's tenure. We know the drill. Almost a decade. An above 500 coach. He's basically a 9-7 coach. Everyone jokes he's an 8-8 coach. He's really a 9-7 coach. 3 NFC East titles, couple of playoff wins. No conference championship appearances. 0. You know, like the Cincinnati Bengals hanging on to Marvin Lewis because they're the Bengals. This is the Dallas Cowboys. You don't hang on to a guy this long for those results. It's not an acceptable result for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he'll be gone. Which brings me to this. Who is your number 1 head coaching target? Again, Tom Downey will have you guys covered between now and whenever Jason Garrett gets fired, plus after he gets fired on the coaching search. Who is your number 1 head coach target? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Now, we still got some great Cowboys gear deal for you guys, including this sweet hat, just $15.39. It's 30% off with our partners, Fanatics. Go to chatsports.com/CowboysHat and take advantage of this deal. I know we're all upset about the Cowboys loss, but that's still a sweet hat for just over $15. And then tons of Cowboys gear, t-shirts, jerseys, hoodies, all kinds of stuff. A lot of these items up to 50% off. Got to take advantage of it today. Chatsports.com/Cowboys. Sweet hoodie right there. I'm going to order mine right after this show. Chatsports.com/Cowboys. Take advantage of this sweet Cowboys gear right now. Some schedule changes coming down from the NFL, and this really isn't something new. The NFL likes to get playoff implication games into better time slots, so they're sliding both the Cowboys and the Eagles game into the afternoon, because the Cowboys still have a path to the playoffs. So Cowboys, Redskins, 4:25 Eastern. Eagles, Giants also at 4:25 Eastern. That's a key as well, because people freaked out when they moved the Cowboys game back first. And they were like, oh, well, if the Eagles lose at noon, the Cowboys virtual win and end game. They moved them both. They don't like, the NFL doesn't give teams competitive advantages, because if the Cowboys know that the Eagles have already won, they can just rest their starters. That's bad for ratings. They're not going to do that. So they're going to have both games play at the same time. Redskins, Cowboys. Look, I mean, I fully expect Dallas to win this game, and it would be very, very fitting if Jason Garrett got sent off as an 8-8 coach, even though he's really a 9-7 coach. Cowboys 11-point favorites. You can go bet on this one at BetDSI. Here's the Cowboys' path to the postseason. Very simple. You beat the Redskins, the Eagles lose to the Giants, and the Cowboys are the number 4 seed. That is the path for the Cowboys. And look, don't get me wrong, this Cowboys team stinks, but would any of us be surprised if the Eagles choked against the Giants? They're playing a lot better. Danny Dimes looked great yesterday. I'm just saying, like, I don't see it happening, but weirder things have happened. So the Cowboys certainly are still alive, although Pete Cowboys would be losing to the Redskins after the Eagles lose to the Giants. That would be the ultimate capper on this season. But I'll ask you guys, do you think the Cowboys will make the playoffs? In other words, do you think they will beat the Redskins and the Eagles will lose to the Giants? If you do, type Y for yes. If you don't, type N for no. I don't see it. It wouldn't shock me. I'll say it's a 20% chance. Divisional games, you never know. It is at New York for Philadelphia, so Got to go on the road. The Giants would like to play spoiler there, but I'm typing my in for no. I don't see it, but if you think the Cowboys will make the playoffs, type Y for yes. Now, you got to like this stuff from Dak Prescott, and there's a lot of criticism to go around, especially with Dak over the final stretch of the season, and we're going to get into that in just a few moments here, but Dak is not going to blame how he played and why the Cowboys lost on his shoulder. He's not going to do it. We know he struggled yesterday, but you know what? He didn't blame it on the shoulder. He didn't practice all week, and he went out there with the sprained AC joint. By the way, he lowered his shoulder early in this game trying to pick up a first down, leaning with that throwing shoulder. I don't know how smart that is, but you can't question this kid's toughness and his willingness to win. He just didn't play that well. You see the numbers, 25 of 44, 265, no touchdowns, no picks. I mean, how about the game plan, right? 44 pass attempts for a guy with a banged-up shoulder. It's not like they were getting blown out and had to throw every down. Now, I know Zeke struggled a little bit early, but only give him 13 carries, have Dak throw it 44 times. Sounds like a game plan problem to me. Here's Dak after the game, refusing to blame his shoulder, saying, look, I missed some throws. I can't say I had pain or felt it in my shoulder. It could maybe be a lack of reps this week, who knows? But yeah, it wasn't my shoulder. It wasn't anything I was feeling. I felt good. And yeah, he probably could have left out the lack of reps thing this week, but keep in mind, he's never missed practice in his entire career. So that's a change of pace from him, a guy who has never had a serious injury, has never missed a rep in practice, to all of a sudden doing nothing during the week, essentially, and having to play in a big game on Sunday. I give Dak kudos. He battled. He just didn't play that well. His receivers didn't help him out. They dropped 6 passes. I thought Amari Cooper at times pulled up when he could have made plays on the ball. I was pretty disappointed in his performance. Who deserves the most blame for the Cowboys' loss? Is it Dak? Is it Garrett? Is it the entire regime? I put it mostly on Garrett and the offensive game plan, so I'll tie Kellen Moore into that as well. I think they should have tried to commit to Ezekiel Elliott more in this game, so I will lean on the offensive staff of Garrett and Kellen Moore. Now, if you want to bet on this game, Week 17, Cowboys Redskins, got to do it with our betting partners, BetDSI. It's the internet's #1 sportsbook. Cowboys 11-point favorites, over under 44.5. By the way, Dwayne Haskins' high ankle sprain may or may not play in this one. Left the game against the Giants this week. Chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code Cowboys120 to get that 120% deposit bonus. Put $100 down, they'll give you $120 for free. That is math, folks. Chatsports.com/bet. Get signed up with BetDSI and bet on all sports all the time. Now, this one's, I'm conflicted here. Fort Worth Star-Telegram, Matt Engel is throwing this one out there. Has Dak Prescott played his way into being franchise tagged? I think it's possible. And I don't think it's just because of Dak's play down the stretch. I think it's more of because if you're a new coach, a new coaching staff, do you want to have Dak Prescott be 5 years and $175 million? You probably want to see what you got for a year. So a new coaching staff might want Dak Prescott franchise. Now, it may not work out that way. The Cowboys can extend him before they get a new coach in here, but I think there's a legitimate question to ask and to wonder heading into the offseason here whether or not the Cowboys should extend Dak long-term. Look, here's his final 5 games, under 60%. The yardage is okay, but a lot of that is garbage against the Bills and the Bears. 5 touchdowns, 2 picks. His quarterback rating, 87.5. Keep in mind, that's passer rating, not QBR, which is out of 100. 87.5 would be excellent there. This is out of 158.3, so not very good. You want to be 95 or higher. I think 90 to 95 is pretty average. So he's been below average. And do you want to pay him this type of money? Russell Wilson, Big Ben, Aaron Rodgers? And by the way, in several of those cases, it hasn't worked out super well. Look what happened with Jared Goff this year. I know the Eagles are probably going to make the playoffs now, but it's not like Carson Wentz has lit it up. I don't know, man. I really don't. I think the franchise tag is very, very much in play here. But I'll ask you guys, what should Dallas do with Dak Prescott? Should they pay him? Should they tag him? Type T for tag, type P for pay. You know, I'm conflicted. I'm really, really conflicted. I'll say this. If I'm a head coach candidate wanting to take the Cowboys job, I probably want him tagged. I probably want to see what I have with this quarterback in my system for a year. So I think it's tag. I think I'm typing my T for tag. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, maybe even last week I wouldn't have said this, but I think tag him is very much in play. But I'll leave it to you guys. You guys are what this show is all about. What should the Cowboys do with Dak Prescott? Type T for tag him, type P for Pam, and we'll see you next time.